Everybody, I'm F Jojo and I'm bringing you guys part 3 of What If I Was Reborn in the Sonic Universe. You know what happened in the previous part. If you have not watched it, then watch it so you can know what happened in the previous part. So yeah. Now we're off for me visiting my family. I've not visited my family for at least 100 years, or so I thought so. But it's actually been past more than 100 years, 1,000 years. And my father was actually married a lot of ones after I've actually left. I will actually be quite surprised to know that my father has married so much, and I will not be that surprised at the same time. Of course, my father is kind of worried for me not actually getting a wife, but I told him that I'm alright. Of course, eventually I'll be able to visit the Archie universe. Of course, I know how powerful some of the Archie characters are, but as I became much more powerful, I also have access to the Ultra form that Sonic has. But I'll practically stay in my super form phase 4, which I most likely will stay as my base form. Sometimes I will use it as a base or just transform back to normal. Not want to hurt the civilians because of my intense power. Because just with me sneezing, I can practically destroy a universe. Yes, that just is my sneeze. I'm much more powerful than Beerus as well, so yeah. And actually, I'll meet Whisper the Wolf from the Archie universe. Of course, I'll introduce myself as Shattuck. And of course, she will actually take a liking to me, due to me being much more kind of quiet guy and being much more calmer than some others. Eventually, we actually hit off really quickly. Eventually, after a couple of months, I actually proposed to her to marry her and became her boyfriend, and she would actually accept it. Of course, it took us a lot of time to practically know each other, but I was fine with it. I have almost infinite amount of lifespan that I can actually give to her as well. So I don't actually have any problem with her taking her time of liking me. Because I like her and I always respect women's privacy and the women themselves. God, I'll sometimes train with her so I can teach her the basic of key control so she can learn how to utilize key if she cannot use chaos control or anything like that. And of course, Whisper growing incredibly strong herself. I'm gonna say that Whisper in her base form is actually stronger than even Super Saiyan 3 Goku by just training with me for a couple of days. So she became much more powerful just by training with me slightly. Eventually, I was able to achieve a new phase of my forms after I was able to get inspiration by Whisper, with which she told me to combine my hyper form with my super form phase 4. Of course, I know it will kind of be difficult for me to achieve this type of level of power, but I know that if I can actually combine the ultra form and the hyper form together, maybe I can do that. Maybe I combine my ultra hyper form with my phase 4, and maybe I can achieve even a stronger form than I have ever achieved. But I'm still not quite sure if I'm able to break my limits. I know I'm strong, but I don't know if I have hit my limits right now. Of course, I'll be kind of worried for me trying to hurt Whisper. With the Whisper, of course, calm me down and telling me that everything's gonna be alright. Eventually, I will introduce Whisper to my father, and of course, Zito will be pretty proud of me having a girlfriend. Of course, we actually have some of the reaction videos. With me, of course, being on some of the reaction videos, and eventually even meeting Movie Sonic. And eventually, when the universes collide, I almost like would have met Nazo, Sonic, and even Movie Sonic. Of course, I will introduce myself to both of them, as seemingly I'm the oldest son of Exilior. Of course, Movie Sonic is kind of surprised of me being practically a fusion or some sorts, and most likely I was reborn, but I would tell Movie Sonic that I'm incredibly powerful. If it was a spoiler, I would not have a problem with it. Of course, Movie Sonic will be kind of cocky, thinking I'm not that strong, but with just punching me, he almost like would have broken his arm. Of course, I was able to heal him, but I tell him to be careful. Even though I'm just in base, I'm much more powerful than him. Even Archsonic just has difficulty defending me. If we're saying yes, I have fought Archsonic base to base, and our powers are most likely equal. But when I actually go to my phase 4 form, I'm as strong as Archie Sonic in his Ultra form, which just proves how powerful I am. And I even have my own variation of an Ultra form, which is even miles away more powerful than his own. Actually making me invincible, but at the same time increasing my speed and durability to an infinite level. Using funny, I have an immeasurable speed, which is the maximum and a pinnacle of speed that a movie can achieve, and someone like Sonic as well. With me being miles away stronger than Archie Sonic means I'm miles away faster and stronger as well. Of course, I would have met Sonic and Shadow from the universe that Exeter would have most likely would have watched in multiple of his videos. With me, of course, introducing myself to both of them. Of course, Shadow would get annoyed, thinking that I'm just a weakling, but with just one punch, I'll be able to knock some sense into the ultimate life form, or what he calls himself. Of course, I would not have a problem with me joining the team and party. Well, of course, me getting introduced to Knuckles, and Tails, and even Amy. I'll even tease sometimes Amy and Sonic as well. With me, of course, meeting Sonic's mother. With me, of course, introducing myself. Of course, the Queen, or Sonic's mother, will mostly be impressed by my power, even not this strong. But I'm also a part Sonic and Shadow at the same time, but yet I am my own person. Of course, I also would have met Scourge, and Scourge actually being impressed by my power. He actually asked me if I have a Fleetway, but I told him that yes, I do have a Fleetway, but as a form, not as a thing. Actually, Sonic and Scourge actually surprised and asked me when did I get that. I eventually explained a long time ago when Archer Sonic practically gained the Fleetway form for the first time. I tried to intervene so he cannot hurt any innocent people. Eventually, Fleetway was able to practically put his virus into me. Due to me being a part Sonic, it was practically permanent, but also because I was part Shadow, it was actually not that permanent. It was a form, but at the same time, it wasn't. Eventually, the manifestation of my own Fleetway, known as Fleetway Shattuck, occurred, and eventually I would start to fight him in my own mindscape. Seemingly, as I was struggling to gain control of my body, while Whisperer was trying to sleep. I was struggling in my mindscape while fighting my Fleetway form. Seemingly, as he was draining the power that I had within my body, trying to get more power to overpower me. But because this is my mind and my realm, I was able to overpower him. And eventually, I would rather kill him and absorb all the energy that he has left. Not leaving even a trace of him left. Of course, most likely I would have actually become much more powerful and get an incredible boost to my chaos abilities. I was even able to even access chaos magic because of killing Fleetway. With actually Sonic and Josh being surprised of me able to kill Fleetway, my own variation of him. I also would have told Sonic that my own version of Fleetway is actually stronger than his own. Even able to even go hyper when I actually first fought him. He was so strong that I was actually pushed to using my phase 3 form and not even my phase 4 form to even match him in battle. It was even much tougher than I actually expected, as I almost was at my limits, but I actually saw that my Fleetway counterpart was also hitting his limits way faster than I was. Eventually, I would have trained and even achieved the technique as known as the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. Yes, I have both of them, and I can actually increase the levels of them mighty higher. With me even able to get the multiversal Spirit Bomb. This Spirit Bomb is miles away stronger than even other Spirit Bombs. This Spirit Bomb can practically erase an entire zone, which is practically a combination between multiverses and different places with infinite amount of space in them. And this attack cannot only destroy one zone, it can destroy infinite zones, which is just incredibly powerful in its own right. Also, I can increase my level of Kaioken. I do not have the same strain as Goku, Vegeta, or anything like that. I'm practically a born pure being as a god and immortal at the same time. Of course, I'm a god and I can increase the level of a power, but I'm also at the same time immortal and I don't have limits. Eventually, I was able to increase my Kaioken into times 3,000, and even 50,000 if I wanted to. This little Kaioken will actually push me to actually matching my father's power. Even when he actually uses a portion of his true form, I'm actually able to match it that while using my phase 4 form alongside Kaioken, which is pretty impressive to know that I'm actually catching up. My father, of course, would have told me that he's actually still not using his true power, and I would have known that a long time ago. Seemingly as I always would have kept my old memories, so I already know that for a long time. Eventually, with of course me and my father training, we would get incredibly strong. Of course, my moms would be kind of worried for me getting hurt, but I would just tell them that I can heal myself. Of course, they will not worry as much, but they'll still worry for me. They will also take care of me, kind of spoil me, but I just tell them that everything is alright. Eventually, I also would have hit out with Sonic. Eventually, even help him control his Fleetway form. And eventually, I would have told Sonic about Scourge gaining his own Fleetway form after the Fleetway accident. If only I would have known that because I was able to sense the battle going on. If only I actually would have intervened, helping both Multi and Boom Sonic, able to actually take down Fleetway before he can even be much more a threat. If only I would have not used my Chaos abilities because I know that Fleetway can absorb Chaos energy, so I want to focus on key control basically. With this, I was able to start into practically push Fleetway Sonic. Not wanting to practically end the battle as should have been, so I was just slowing down as much as time as both Boom and Multi can handle. Eventually, I will introduce myself afterwards after Sonic goes back to normal. With Multi and Boom Sonic actually being confused with who I was. I do kind of look like a Sonic, but at the same time I look like a Shadow. Eventually, Sonic would have introduced me or Mother Sonic if you want to call him, would have introduced me as Shattuck, or you could say multiversal Shattuck. Of course, Multi and Boomsong were actually surprised by knowing my name. I told them that I am practically a son of an ancient god, known as Exidior. Of course, Multi would practically be shocked and ask me how do I know Exidior. But I told them that I do not know Exidior, I know Exidior. Exidior is my father and is also the one who helped me in a long time. Of course, Multi thinking that I'm talking about the wrong guy, he would try and attack me, but I'll easy out to knock some sense into Multi in just a fraction of a second. Tell him that I'm mighty faster than any Sonic, even Marlon cannot even match my power. And both Multi and Boo will look at Marlon, with Marlon telling that he's right. I'm faster than he or I am much more faster than him. And both Sonics would just look at me in shock. I tell them that I'm no pushover. I can destroy their timelines in their entire universe if I want to. I can destroy anyone. I can erase them from existence. I can kill any one of them in just a second or a fraction. So, are we gonna talk calmly, or I'm gonna beat the sense out of both of them? Of course, Boom decides to listen to me, with Multi deciding to listen afterwards. Eventually, I'll tell my whole story, with Boom's actually kind of being kind of angry at himself for mistaking me, with me telling that it's not his fault. He has been living through a big trauma, and I understand it. But Multi, of course, would have also told me that if I want to visit, I can visit any time. I will, of course, smile and tell him that I would love to, alongside my girlfriend. Of course, Boom and Multi actually don't know who my girlfriend is. Yeah, if only yes, Mar actually knows because we actually go on a double date with Whisper and Amy. So yeah, I will introduce Whisper and actually Moonstone will try to flip her, but she'll easily able to slap her in the back of the head, telling her to don't try anything dirty. With me just saying that I teach her to fight back, so I make sure that she can save herself if I'm not around. With Multi, of course, struggling and he asked me if I can join Brandy. With me telling her that I would love to. Seems like I see a lot of potential in her. She can actually control both Chaos Energy and Ki, like I do, and even Whisper. She was not that fast with Ki control, but eventually she was able to get a hang of it after getting used to it. I actually would have told Multi that I actually wanted to train not only in Ki control, but also Chaos Energy, because I know he can access it. He's just not willing to do that. Of course, Multi thinks of not intervening with Chaos Energy, but I'm eventually able to help Multi. Eventually even able to help him completely erase his Fleetway form. Completely. And eventually Multi will be able to actually access the super form once again. But I also would have actually shown Multi how he can access different phases of his super form. A super form like phase 2, 3, but it seems that his phase 4 is actually completely different to me. Instead of being blue like my base form, it's actually dark blue like his Werehog form. I mean, so the super form phase 4 does come from Werehog energy, like Dark Gaia energy, but not completely. It just comes with a natural form of the Werehog. So I think that maybe it would make sense for this Sonic to have this power. I actually would have asked Multi if his shower has the Werehog form, but Multi would just sigh and tell me no. I'll tell him that it's a shame. If he would actually have the phase 4 form, he'll most likely become even stronger than even Multi at this point. Of course, Multi will be confused, and I tell him that Shao is practically a black armed soldier, but at the same time, his potential to grow is almost limitless. I'll say that he'll most likely able to make even more progress than any Sonic, because Shao's or states actually have much more potential than either Sonic. Even though Sonics have incredible amounts of potential, Shao's, because of their natural ability to adapt and have control over Chaos Energy basically and easily and casually, most likely would be able to a much bigger feat. I'm gonna say that even if Ultra Shao does not actually have the Chaos, like the Ultra form, I'm gonna say that in his Ultra form, he'll most likely be as stronger or not even stronger than Archie Sonic in his own Ultra form, which will most likely be incredibly impressive. Of course, I was able to talk Multi how to truly master Ultra Instinct and use it as a base form, since I already have the basics of it alongside the God and Blue transformation. Since I don't need them as much, since I already in my normal transformations, I can easily defeat anyone. I don't use Ultra Instinct, but I was actually able to figure out that Ultra Instinct was actually the part of my transformation that I was missing. Ultra Instinct was a technique that I was missing a long time. It seems that this technique was the thing that I was missing ever since I was actually reborn. The way to break my limits is through Ultra Instinct. Of course, I'll eventually would have visited Multi a couple of times, even meeting my nephew, Dodger. Of course, Dodger would have been happy to see me as an uncle, in which I also would have met Majin. I actually would have known Majin for a long time because of my father. Majin would try and troll me, but I was easy able to figure out his trolls. Tell him to not even try. Of course, Majin would just been frowning, telling me that it's no fun, but I'll tell him that he's making fun of everyone, and I decided why not make fun of him as I would dress him in a bow tie. Of course, he'll instantly be embarrassed as I'll just show it on camera, as I'll show it to an entire multiverse, with all people just laughing at Majin with me just chuckling. It's like this is the Majin dance party, with me just smirking as I was able to control Majin. Majin, of course, would yell at me to tell me to stop, but I would just continue to laugh as I would continue to do that. And eventually, the entire multiverse were able to show incredible likes to the video I just made. And just in moments, I was able to make at least 1 million views. If not even billions, as I was able to reach at least 100,000 likes in the video that I just made, at least a minute ago, which would be pretty impressive. Of course, I would just laugh as I would leave Majin alone. Eventually, I would return back to my realm to visit Whisper and see how she's doing, with Whisper hugging me and telling me that she was worried for me, with me just telling me that I can defend myself pretty well. She knows that. Of course, she tells me that she knows, but she's still worried because I am still her husband, with me just smiling and being happy that I'm with my wife. But guys, this is the end of this part. See you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.